Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the MenoLounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars. Coming in hot to you today. Like, even my hair is hot today. And I don't mean in a good way. I mean kind of a wild way. We're talking about overcoming belly fat with one of our favorite guests. So we're bringing her back. I'm going to bring her up while I'm bringing her up. Before I start, I have to tell you, on this trip, I don't always talk about MenoWell bars on the show, like talk, but I have to tell you, I'm talking about how I'm actually traveling this week, multiple cities, doing all the things, and how we're talking today about overcoming menopausal weight gain and belly fat, but how literally these bars, I keep them like stuck in my leggings, on the side here, and because I'm on Zoom, I'm schlepping huge cases of bars, to this and that. And everywhere I go, there's cookies and snacks and chips and no food. And thank God I always have a bar with me. I'm bragging about my own product. I'm just saying, because I'm so full from all the fiber, 150 calories and all the good fats, and it keeps me going and it keeps me from eating the junk that's all over the place. So
I had one for breakfast this morning. Like, ideally, and I know you and I have talked about this, Julie, like, how wonderful would it be to have the time and space and energy to make like a full veggie omelet, but some days that's just not reality.
Oops, I'm in this funny chair that tips like that. So if I get close today, hopefully I don't fall off. This is traveling, like running around 101, but this is real life, on the road, on the go. Why sometimes I just have to remind myself exactly this is why I created these bars, so I could have a better choice than when you're tired or you don't have the right food. Of course, we rather have whole foods, and we're going to talk about some of those strategies today. But the reality is, you got to have a MenoWell bar with you all the time, so you don't make a choice that you're like, why did I eat that? Why did I run for the border? Just saying. You know what I mean?
I know.
Hi, friend. You're here. You're wearing your MenoWell lavender today too. I love that.
Came ready. I know. I feel like, so this is our third time doing this together, and I think I've worn this top in each of our times. I'm like, this is now what I do when I have a conversation with Julie. This is what I wear.
It's a MenoWell day. I have this new hat. I don't know where I put it. Oh, here's a trucker hat. You should see my suitcase here on the floor, but I have my new hat. And my friend said, don't wear a hat on the show because
I think it's cute.
I have to get you one. So Megan, let's talk about overcoming belly fat. Megan, tell everybody just about you, because I don't want to miss anything today. I'm going too fast. So give us again why we just love working with you.
So this is my third time with you on the show. I call it show, but it's the MenoLounge, and it's so fun to be here. But I am a strength and conditioning specialist. So my background is in fitness training, athletic performance development. I'm also a certified nutrition coach. So I really specialize in coaching women that are 40 plus and helping them feel amazing in their body, whether it's overcoming aches and pains, things that might be getting in their way of just experiencing life the way they want to, but also frustrations with their body, like what we're going to talk about today, of like, where is this belly fat coming from all of a sudden? And what can I do about it that's the wise thing to do?
Well, yes, that. I'm on this trip and talking to one of my oldest besties about salad dressing and how we love all these vegetables, but then you get like, panicked about the oil, or you got to go do the hard Peloton workout to make up for having the oil on the salad, like all the things. So I'm looking forward to talking about overcoming menopausal weight gain in a way that's healthy for us. And so we can feel confident and empowered and not just scared and not feeling good about who we are. And I kind of want to touch on the elephant in the room about the whole skinny thing and, being weight obsessed. And so let's start there. And then I kind of want to talk about calories in, calories out, and then we can talk about some strategies.
Yeah, it's interesting because someone chatted, she was commenting on one of my YouTube videos just yesterday. She was like, I feel like everybody around me weighs different than like what I think they should weigh. And she's like, I'm so stuck on the number I see on the scale. Even though I feel like I'm getting healthier, I still see this number on the scale. It's
Yeah.
like back up, back up, back up. Like big picture, what is more important to you? A number that you see on the scale or having this long list of wonderful, healthy bullet points about how functionally healthy and fit your body is. And what I
Yeah.
like to remind women is that quite often, especially as we age, you at your healthiest might not be anywhere near what the number you have in your mind
Mm,
is. Because when
yeah.
you step on
Yeah.
the scale, it's weighing so many things. It's weighing, we think like it's just weighing like muscle and fat. And
Or
we're
like
like,
it's just one thing, like weight is one thing,
weight is
not
one
multiple
thing.
things, like the salty food we ate the night
Right.
before
Yeah,
and all the
yeah.
water,
And
right?
it's weighing, it's weighing how much muscle glycogen you have in your
Yeah.
muscles. Like that is really, really heavy. And a lot of people when they go on, let's say like a ketogenic diet and they're like, oh my goodness, I just lost 6 to 8 pounds in 1 week. Usually that's where that's coming from, is because
Right.
they're
All that
so
water whoosh that
the
happens,
water,
right?
but
That
then
that goes in.
also, yeah, it's also those packages of carbohydrates that are sitting in your muscles that give you that immediate energy to feel like you're not lethargic throughout the day and you can show up to a workout and have plenty of energy. That weighs a lot. Your bones weigh a lot. Let me tell you one thing. You want your bones heavy. You want
Right. We want
heavy
to be
bones.
strong.
Yeah,
Exactly. I don't know about you, but I'm a tripper. I'm just somebody that trips a lot.
yeah,
And I just know if I trip, I can catch myself. Very rarely do I go all the way
right.
down, but it comes from that strength and that, I know I'm not worried about breaking something. So super
Exactly.
important.
Exactly. And so you want heavy, dense bones.
Yeah.
You want a brain that's like heavy and dense. Like there's so many organs in your body that weigh a lot. And your weight, it's super normal for a female's body's weight to fluctuate as much as 5 or 8 pounds over the course of a month. And so
It's a lot,
it's a
right? Especially if
lot.
you still have a cycle. If you have a cycle, you really,
Yes.
especially a week of the month, you're
Yes.
perimenopausal, you've got symptoms, hot flashes, night sweats, those
Yeah.
kinds of things. Um, and you're really going to get those fluctuations, right? So
Exactly. And so it's really a horrible gauge of how healthy you are or what kind of progress you're actually making with your
yeah,
body. And so I would just love to encourage any woman that feels like I'm just really tied to the scale. And I feel like that is the one thing I always come back to that tells me whether or not I'm doing the right things or I'm healthy. Like challenge that idea in your mind
yeah,
and say, wait a minute, what if 6 months from now, I show up and I do everything that Megan's going to share with me today. And I do all those things and I have more energy. I feel like my body composition has improved. Like my clothes actually do fit better.
right,
I have more confidence in my functional fitness. I feel like when I go to the doctor's like, wow, what have you been doing? Your blood markers look fantastic. And you feel like you're not at risk for falling and you have all of these things that you can check off,
right,
but that number on the scale is still the same. Would it be worth it? And
right.
I always like to challenge women like, would all of that effort still be worth it? If you could say, look at all of these things that I made progress on, but the
Yeah,
number stayed the same, would all of this effort be worth it? And my hope is that it would,
yeah.
and that we can look beyond the number and say, maybe it's time for me to graduate from the scale and pursue habits that I know are setting me
Mhm.
up for a lifetime of being healthy and confident in my body.
I love that. It makes me think about reframing what that
Mhm.
number actually
Yeah.
tells us, where our old thinking is that number means that we weigh more than what we want to weigh,
Yeah.
versus if you're doing the things that Megan, you teach, that we talk about, we're going to go into that all more in depth, that new definition of the same number can be different. It
Yeah.
could mean like what is possible with a redefining of that same weight, that it means that you have more muscle, that your
Yeah.
bone is more dense. And so then you're cheering for that weight not to go down,
Yeah.
right? So it's, if you're doing the things and you get the same weight, that's actually an indicator of positive things. So we have to
Right.
try to reframe those ideas that we have, that we bring from our 20s, 30s, diet culture, on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And there's a lot of women too that will reach out to me and she'll be like, I've struggled to maintain healthy weight. Like I've always been on this so slender, skinny side, and it's hard to be in a culture that like tries to put that on the pedestal where I feel like I'm trying to gain healthy weight. And I know that that can be a struggle too for women in midlife and beyond, where it's like I struggle to put on this muscle. Like
right,
I really feel like everybody's talking about weight loss and I'm over here like
right,
I'm trying to gain some weight. So there's
right,
different body types too. And
right.
I feel like all of us need to step back and ask, who am I at my healthiest?
Mm,
Not compared to anybody else, but
right,
like just me at my absolute healthiest. What does that look like? And what does that mean for what my habits should look like too? So make
yeah,
it really individual to you. And that's where you're going to feel the best.
I love it. I love it. We get to, this is what redefining ourselves at, in midlife
Yeah.
is about. So Megan, before we launch into your 5 ways, I'm sure to really manage midlife, middle, middle, all the things related.
Yeah.
Can we just touch on calories in, calories out? Because it's such a huge topic. There's a lot of controversy, even though we know science is, calories are energy.
Right.
It's a measurement of energy. If you take in more energy than you put out, then where's it going to go,
Right.
right? So that's that. But then there's other discussion around that. So I'd love your thoughts around that, calories in, calories out.
In the most basic understanding of how body homeostasis works, like how body composition works, and just you like maintaining homeostasis, calories in, calories out is true. It's absolutely the gold standard. Like that is how your body works. You give it
Right,
energy and you either use that energy in some form in your body,
right,
or if that's more energy than what your body needs to use, it's going to do something with that energy.
right.
We're not
Exactly.
sure what it's going to do with it.
Right,
And so your hormonal situation
right.
does determine
Wait,
what
I
your
love that you
body.
said hormonal situation.
Yes,
That is
yes.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Because there are so many variables at play. And
Right,
so, especially in midlife, I think it's really limiting to feel like if I just consume less calories than what I expend, then I will see a change in my body composition or a change in my belly fat.
yeah,
And it's so much more nuanced than that. And hopefully that's what we can help, like kind of enlighten the women listening today is that, yes, at its most basic, we do want to make sure that you're not consuming more than what you are expending.
right,
However, there are a lot of factors at play. And so
right,
we want to look at the full picture to make sure that you're not just continuing to burn calories and eat less, 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 less. Like
right.
that's where it just
So
doesn't
many
work.
factors,
Yeah,
which we're going to get into. And I'll just give a shout out to the small but mighty women listening
yeah,
here. For someone like me who's five
right,
one, if I just look at reducing my calories, pretty soon there's no calories for me to reduce because
right.
I'm a small person anyway. So that is not the best equation. It's something I need to pay attention to. It is a metric, but
Hmm.
there's so much more that goes into that. So without further ado, I think we've teased them long
I
enough.
think
Are you
so.
guys teased along? Say in the comments, give me the tricks and things. Tell me, stop
I
teasing.
know.
Okay, Megan, let's talk about overcoming belly fat in during the menopausal
Yeah,
situation. That's your word.
yeah.
let's go into
Well,
that.
I think it's helpful to understand what is this belly fat. Most often it's fat that's not subcutaneous belly
Mm,
fat. It could be a combination. but quite often the belly fat that we're talking about is visceral.
Right.
So, visceral fat, you've probably heard this word, but this is the fat that likes to kind of tuck itself up inside of your trunk and kind of parks itself around your organs, around your stomach, your liver, your intestines, your heart, your lungs. And this is the kind of fat that can't be pinched or squeezed, like it's under, like it's in your trunk. This is sometimes where you feel really thick, but you can't really squeeze it. So you could have a combination of the squeezable kind of fat, which is subcutaneous, the kind that you can pinch and grab, and a combination of that visceral fat.
And it's the dangerous kind.
This is
That's the
the
not,
really
yes.
dangerous kind. And what's really interesting, I found a stat recently that said in post-menopausal women, visceral fat may increase to 15 to 20% of your total fat stores. Versus when we compare that to pre-menopausal women, it might only make up about 5 to 8% of your total fat stores. So this is the dangerous part. This is why it can be very damaging for cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, even things like Alzheimer's. They've seen a connection between higher amounts of visceral fat in the body and like even like Alzheimer's, which is bonkers.
Well, and
Yes.
this is when women say, they come up to me and say, you know, thank you so much to have these bars, because all of a sudden I have this fat around the middle that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
I didn't, you know, I didn't change my workout routine, or maybe it's her workout routine that's creating some of that stress. We can probably chat about
We can
that.
talk about that. Yeah.
But, you know, or my food hasn't really changed, but all of a sudden I have this meno-middle, and yikes, where did that come from?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. And so that is most likely, that's the most common type of fat that starts to accumulate in midlife. And here's why. As estrogen is exiting, so as our body is producing less and less estrogen, estrogen is really, really good. Estrogen and progesterone together, they're really, really good at counteracting the effects of cortisol in the body. And they're really good at counteracting the effects of like high blood sugar amounts. And there's this incredible hormonal play between insulin and cortisol.
Right. And
So
we need cortisol.
we need
right?
cortisol. There's a
little
purpose
bit.
for that.
Right.
So cortisol is released in your body from your adrenal glands when it feels like there's a threat and there's a stressful environment. It's really important. Fight or flight response. For many of us women, we live in kind of this chronically inflamed state or chronically stressed out state. So our body is constantly like giving us this flood of cortisol, which has a play on insulin too. But when you have plenty of estrogen and progesterone, they kind of counteract each other pretty good. It does a decent job. But when you remove estrogen and progesterone, like from the equation, now cortisol just has a heyday. And you suddenly, without changing anything else in your habits, you wake up one day and you're like, why on earth do I now have 20 excess pounds of fat in my midsection? And this is usually what's going on. And so understanding the nuance of like, okay, this isn't just calories in, calories out. Because in this environment, to be like, okay, so then I'm going to attack this visceral belly fat by putting my body under more stress.
Right.
This is actually going to backfire. So point number one that I want to say before we get to any other strategies. So this is strategy number one when it comes to battling this menopause belly fat, visceral fat, is become a stress managing ninja, is what I like to say. So this should be like top of mind, is saying, do I have 2 or 3 moments of every day where I can just relax, release my stress, like just chill? And I say implement this every day, whether or not you feel like you need it. Because I think for many of us women, we are just running at a pace that feels we've gotten used to it now.
Right. I call it, we've normalized it. So we don't even feel literally chronic stress that, you know, every day we're operating in. but we're so used to it that it feels like normal until you don't do it, until you do something to calm your body down. And then you're
Yeah.
like, wow, I couldn't believe I
Whoa.
was feeling like that. I didn't even know. So yeah, I agree 1,000%. Meditation is my go-to every single day, or deep breathing when I
Yep.
can't just start
Yep.
meditating, like right after a meeting,
For
before another meeting, just
sure. Those
deep
are
breath. Yeah.
two really, really good things. I feel like so deep breathing is really powerful. It's one of the only physical activities that you can do that immediately like tampons down that sympathetic nervous system in your
Yeah.
body. Another
Yeah.
thing that does that powerfully is going for a relaxing walk. So getting outside in nature, like breathing fresh air, seeing trees, seeing like hearing birds, and just going like does not need to be a like fitness walk. In fact, it shouldn't be
No.
like a
Yeah.
power walk. Just do a relaxing stroll and that will
Mhm.
calm you down. So, for myself, to give people an example, every day I wake up early, I have my cup of coffee, I journal, I read my Bible. Like I kind of have that moment to just rest and relax. Midday, I shut off my computer, I read my book, I have a tea, like a cup of tea, and I take a nap. And then in the evening, I go for a gentle stroll. So, regardless of how stressed out my day is, like I have these things positioned in the day to just be these constants. Because when you suddenly have like this really stressful season of life, you don't want to be suddenly on the defense and be like, I got to figure out how to de-stress. Like that's not the
Right.
time to figure this out. Like just have this become part of your normal habitual like daily life, and that's just over time going to lower the amount of cortisol output that your
Yeah.
body is having, that it's undergoing, and that's like step number one.
I love that. Build it in.
Yeah.
I say, to me, it's like part of the business plan that I used to have meetings back to back, and
Yeah.
they all started, ended up, 59 after the hour, started at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And now I set my meetings automatically for 45 minutes,
I
usually.
like it.
30 or 45. So I have that reset time, time to just breathe literally at my desk, because I'm usually just drinking some water, maybe
Yeah.
having a bite of a bar, something like that, and doing some box
Yep.
breathing, the 4
Yep. I
in,
love it.
hold for
Yeah.
4, exhale for 4, just going around, and 4 to 6 breaths, and like like I'm good to go,
Yeah.
reset with new intentions for the next thing. Because I literally, as much as I want to get up, I'll stand up, Megan, but I can't walk, because
Right.
I can't. So when I can, I do, and that is the better option. But if I can't, I just try to build in that transition time and just calm my body down, and
So
then be
important.
intentional about the next thing. Also, you don't bring that frenetic energy from one thing to the next
Exactly.
thing.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that actually leads the you said that, and that makes me think of the second thing that I want to point out of like this is your second part of the strategy is becoming someone who's really good at sleeping. And I know that this is really hard for there's a lot of challenges
Yeah.
to being a good sleeper in midlife. But this is a big piece of it. If you are like crashing into bedtime every night super stressed out, you're not going to sleep well. And if you're a really poor sleeper, here's another really interesting stat. So in a study of more than 68,000 women, this was
Wow.
not a small study.
That's a real study, not a pretend study. And they're
Real
women, they're not
study.
just men, with
Right.
a couple women sprinkled in. Okay.
68,000 women, those who slept 5 hours or less per night gained more weight in midlife than women who were sleeping 7 hours or more per night. Like without
Huge.
changing anything else. Nothing else was different.
Huge.
This was just sleep. So you can basically count on the fact like if I'm not sleeping at night, I will probably experience weight gain or at least struggle to lose the weight that I have gained. And so step back and say, what are the factors that are impacting my quality of sleep? What is it within my control? Because I know it probably feels like there is a lot outside of your control, but just having a clear understanding of how can I get better sleep? Is my stress impacting my sleep? Is how I ate today, how I moved today, is that impacting my sleep? Because they all kind of impact each other. Also, am I getting hot flashes at night? Am I getting those heart palpitations, those vasomotor symptoms of menopause? is there something that I can talk to my doctor about? Perhaps consider hormone replacement therapy that could help me sleep better at night. Like be like pursue this.
Magnesium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like pursue this hardcore and say like let me get to the bottom of it. Like this is just as important. Like being a really good sleeper is just as important to me as having a really good fitness routine or a really good diet routine.
Absolutely. It is right up there, and
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, making sure if you don't have a good night's sleep and you're planning to do a workout in the morning, sometimes it's better to just try to get that extra sleep,
Yes.
and because you're not really going to have a great workout anyway, generally. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I've
you
had a
can
lot of
do
women
it
that are
a little bit
like,
later.
I didn't get my workout done today. Should I like just stay up a little later and just try to get my workout done like late at night? And I'm like, no, because it's gonna
No,
like
because then you
today is a wash. Like, don't worry about like you're not gonna move the needle in one
right,
workout. Like,
right,
but how you sleep tonight could have a dramatic impact on what your actions are like tomorrow and the day after that, the day after that.
huge.
So the sleep piece is so important. And I know that that feels like a lot is out of your control, especially at this phase of life, but there
Yeah,
are some things that could be in your control. You might need like blackout curtains. You might need, an eye mask, earplugs, whatever you need to do. Go to bed at the same time every night. Like things, other things that really impact your sleep too. I know a lot of women in midlife wake up at like 2 or 3 a.m., like just wake up. Go back to the drawing board and say, what did I eat in the evening? So, especially
I was
alcohol, by the way.
going to
So,
say, you
yeah,
mean like the wine, literally wine spritzer I
yeah,
had last
yeah,
night. I don't drink very much, and I had a little bit of that, and that had me up. I've been up since 4 this morning, and
yes.
actually I don't mind getting up early because I was working because this is a time to do a lot of work, but that I don't want that on the
You
regular. That's not
don't,
good.
yeah, that's not a regular
Um,
thing. And
no,
so alcohol is interesting. Like at first, when you first drink it, it like relaxes you and is kind of a
right,
downer. But about 3 to 5 hours after, it actually is an upper.
right,
So it will actually wake you up. It gets your adrenaline going and you'll wake up in the middle of the night like, whoa, why am I wide awake? So paying really close attention to that, like, oh man, I really shouldn't be doing that anymore because my sleep is really important to me.
exactly. The biggest helper hack for me on sleep is when I am disciplined here, could be me. Um, I'll keep talking. It's Megan on Megan's side. I lost you, I thought, for a second there, Megan, but I was saying
Okay, there,
that,
I got you back.
okay,
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
good, good. I was saying the biggest hack for me is when I'm disciplined about charging my phone in another room.
yeah,
So in a dressing room instead of
yeah,
next to my
yeah,
bed, because I was in the habit of keeping the phone by my bed because I had young adult kids,
mhm,
in college all over the place. And when you get those middle of the night calls, you want to be able to answer,
yeah,
but I don't have that anymore. And for women who still have kids in the
right.
house, you don't need to have your
Yeah,
phone right next to you because that 2 a.m., 3 a.m. wake up. And then what do? We pick up our phone,
yep,
blue light,
yep,
social
yep,
media, so no bueno.
yeah.
So put your phone in another room. It's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard,
I know. And
but it's
another
so
thing
good.
that I've had to figure out is that like checking messages right before bed or reading an email right before bed, like that can like you don't know what kind of a
Right.
message you're going to get or what kind of
Definitely.
email you're going to get. And most things are not an emergency. And so if you're bringing that type of like pressure and burden into bed, like your brain is spinning. You're like, how am I going to respond to this person? How am I going to do it? What's tomorrow going to be? So even just
Right.
right before bed I love to do like a brain dump
Right.
of like, okay, these are all
Get
the
it
things that are
out.
on my mind that I feel like I need to tackle tomorrow. Like just get it out of my head, put it somewhere else, and I'll come back to it tomorrow. Like that really helps prevent me from waking up in the middle of the night, like just
Oh,
going wild. So,
I'm with
yeah.
you.
So those are the first two things. So, stress, sleep. And then now the things that people thought we were probably going to start with, like nutrition and fitness. Like those obviously are part of the coin. So, It's a four-sided coin, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So just for those who are jumping on, we're talking about
Yeah,
overcoming weight gain during menopause. So stress impacts weight gain. Let's just know that. I mean, that's something
yeah,
that you don't have to give up a food you don't want, you know, or you want to eat or something like that to manage. So that is an excellent thing to focus on. Same thing with
yeah,
sleep. We don't have to give
yeah,
up foods or make extra steps in order to gain the benefits of weight loss with those two strategies.
yeah.
So they're winners. Okay, keep going,
Easy
Megan.
strategies to start with. And I always say, like, start with those because you're probably overlooking them and you're probably underestimating how powerful they are. So, and that's why a lot of women in midlife like wake up one day and be like, where did all this excess fat come from? I didn't change anything.
Yeah,
It's like, well, probably your body is not doing as well with the stress load and lack of sleep. So now you have to be a lot more intentional about it. So eating healthy is the next piece. Like, this is kind of obvious. If you do over consume energy, kind of like what we were talking about in the beginning, your body will have to find a place to put that. And especially if it's in this environment where cortisol is kind of like running rampant, it's going to try to, it will most likely put it in the mid region, kind of in the torso region and the belly region.
right,
Um, Often women will feel it in their triceps and their thighs too, especially if they happen to be very estrogen dominant. So if, as you go through perimenopause and menopause, you've got estrogen and and progesterone both declining, but sometimes what happens is progesterone will decline a lot faster than
right.
estrogen. And so we get that like fancy thing called estrogen dominant. And so in that environment, your body will really like to put this excess energy in triceps and thighs too. So this is
Nice.
why eating healthy is so, so important.
Yeah.
It's always been important, but it really is important now than never. And what I always like to tell women, like, if it hasn't been on your radar up to this point, do not do anything extreme or drastic.
It doesn't
Because
work anyway.
it doesn't work
It doesn't
anyway.
work. So we don't even need to be tempted to do that
Yeah,
because I know you're gonna I won't give the spoiler of what happens when we do that, but we need
yeah,
nutrients. We need nutrient dense foods, and you got to find the ones that you like.
yeah,
If it takes forever to figure out what salad and salad dressing you like, and I worked very hard to figure out vegetables that I
right?
really, really enjoy. Yes, wonderful
Yeah. And
recipes.
it doesn't come down to, if you realize like, wow, I've been a really haphazard eater and I can tell like my eating is out of hand. Nutrition's out of hand, and this I'm probably consuming way too many junk foods, splurge foods, things that are out of my like I need to buckle down. Usually what we do is we go to the extreme and say, I'm going to cut everything out. I'm going to like skip meals. I'm going to like cut out all the sugar. Like, we go to the extreme opposite end and we just get this pendulum that just starts swinging really hard one direction to the other. And that's what we experience, that all or nothing behavior with
Yeah.
our eating habits. It's like we need to find a good balance of something that is not extreme, that you can wake up and confidently be eating, you know, pretty healthy,
Yeah.
not perfectly healthy, but pretty healthy every single day, day in and day out. And so there's a couple really simple frameworks that I like to give women that help
I
with
love your
this.
frameworks. Okay, go ahead.
So one thing
I live
I
by them.
say,
Go ahead.
yeah, so one thing I say to just kind of help with that is like, if it's a mealtime, eat. Like, we forget this. We feel like, oh, I'll just skip lunch today and I'll make up for it later. Like, that always backfires. We end up hangry. We end up like, making a really bad decision later because we feel like, well, I have all this like extra calorie credits, like because
Right.
I didn't eat earlier in the
A
day. So
bank them
now,
for later on when you're
yeah,
not moving. You're not moving,
exactly.
so let's eat the most.
And so
Yeah.
then we end up making really poor, unhealthy food choices later with foods that are like really calorie dense and really processed, high sugar, high fat, high salt foods.
Right.
And
Right.
so if it's a mealtime, stop what you're doing and prioritize feeding your body.
Eating
Get
it.
food in
Yeah.
your body, however you need to do that. Sometimes it's going to look a little fancier than other times, but we need to feed your body. The second framework I like to give women is that at each of these meal times, eat your
I was
pros. You've heard me say this a
waiting for
lot.
that, Megan. That's always like, eat
Your
your pros. Eat your
pros, this
pros.
helps so
Yeah.
much. So when you're eating, choose a protein source, choose a produce source. And it could, like I said, it could look fancy. It could be like a beautiful chicken salad one day. Another day, it could be a MenoWell bar and a banana. You know, you're like, there's protein in this, and I see some produce here. Like,
Yeah.
so you have a good framework for how to put together a meal
Yeah.
that you know is checking boxes for what your body needs.
I love
And
that.
so just like consistently eating good, healthy, and I like to encourage women to eat robust meals.
Yes.
Most of us come from this mindset of the less, the better. But I like to challenge you and say, how about we flip that around and say more?
Yeah.
Can I add more protein to my plate? Can I add more produce to my plate? Like how many vegetables can I eat today? How many fruits can I eat today? How much protein can I eat today? And what this
Right.
naturally does is it nudges out the less healthy things. When you're constantly loading up your plate with these robust, nutritious meals, you're
Yeah.
not going to have room on your plate or in your stomach for the cheesecake or for the
Right.
bag of
You're so
chips or
full
crackers or
because of
yeah.
fiber, right? All that fiber, especially from
Yes.
all those pros, all that produce, it
Yes.
makes you so full, all that volume. You don't even want the sweet thing that you used to want
Right.
afterward. So I'm
Yes.
all about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
at this point of life, like when you were 25, you probably, your body could handle a meal that had a higher glycemic index, you know, a higher amount of sugar, processed carbohydrates, a higher like glycemic load, you know, where it shot up that insulin. At this point, your body is not tolerating that as well. And
Yeah.
so when you feed yourself a meal that has a lot of processed carbs, has a high amount of sugar in it, and low quality protein and high amounts of saturated fat, your body has to try to figure out what to do with it. And it doesn't do it as efficiently right now in this hormonal environment. And so more than ever, like your body needs protein produce at your meals. It needs good whole grains, that fiber. It needs a good balance of healthy fats so that with each meal, you're getting this slow release of good nutrients. And it that will help so much.
You feel so satisfied.
Yes,
I
yes.
okay, don't think I'm weird, but I like to eat the same things every day because I don't like to think about it.
I don't like to
So
either.
I don't like to think
Yeah.
about it. So my current lunch right now is a tuna, and I don't want to
Yeah.
eat tuna, a whole month, but a week. For 1 week, I have tuna every day for lunch, mostly with some mustard, so it's not too dry.
Right. Yeah.
And then I put it on pilot on or celery, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then I have a lot of cabbage. Like I like a lot of volume
Yep.
of cabbage and,
Load it
might
up.
toss it up with that, a
Yeah.
little bit of olive oil, a little good fats in there. So you've got all that protein, all that cabbage and vegetables and fiber. And then I'll have a half a MenoWell bar at
Right.
the end, usually chocolate.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then
And
I've got more fiber and protein
I
there. So
love that so much. And I want to be the woman where someone's like, wow, you eat a lot.
right.
Like,
Of the
yes, because these are
right things.
of the
Yeah, not
right
the yucky
things.
things.
I was no,
Mm-hmm.
so my youngest son turned 11 last weekend and he wanted like like he loves Cheetos. And
Yeah.
I like a handful of
Yeah.
Cheetos every now and then. But I was like, these literally dissolve in my mouth and they don't fill me up at all. At all. Like it's almost as if my stomach never knew that they ever happened. Because there's
And the
zero
whole
fiber
bag
in
is
that. Like
gone
it's
before it
yeah,
registers.
it's
So bad on bad.
so
Yeah.
processed and it's so like taste bud entertaining.
And just
And
yucky.
and
But
so
yeah.
it's so gross, but it just made me think like, wow, I could probably consume 800 calories of Cheetos and still not be full and
Right.
not satisfied,
Yes.
right?
That's a whole
Versus
bag.
like,
Correct.
yeah, versus being the like having a tuna salad like what you put together where it's like, whoa, that's a huge meal. And that was probably, as far as calorie load, going back to that like calories in, calories out, nowhere near like the 800 calorie Cheeto handful,
Yes.
like, yeah,
Because this much Cheetos is,
right.
200
Yeah,
calories, and a whole huge salad with all that wonderful protein is
right.
200 calories, right? So,
Exactly.
which is still super low.
Yep.
So, to add more protein to make it good.
Yep. Yep.
What do y'all eat for a snack on the go? Well, I got to
Well,
say, MenoWell bars, by the
yeah.
way, that's my company if you're new here. Megan's also an ambassador for us and her team, so thank you. But hey, if you haven't tried MenoWell bars, if you follow us and DM us, and I think the promo code, just say Megan. You could say Megan, and,
Yeah.
and I'll send you a promo code. You can get 50% off double chocolate brownie if you want to try them. So
They're
just
so
follow and
yummy.
DM. I'll answer all the DMs. Just say Megan or give me the code, or Julie, just give me the thing, whatever. Say hello
Yeah,
and I'll
they're
send it to you.
great for a snack. And what I love about them is that they have the protein in there. They've got
Yeah.
the fiber in there. And so I always say, like, let's round it out. Let's add, can you have an apple with it? That'll make it more robust. And I
Yeah.
just like to have that in the back of my mind. Like, what can I
Yes.
do to make this
Add
bigger, like
with.
more robust,
Okay.
more filling, bigger?
Here they come.
And so,
Ladies, I just want to tell them, Megan, I can't catch you all here, but if you DM us, DM
great.
at my MenoWell,
Yeah,
and so if you say Megan there, then we'll send you the promo
I
code
love
there.
it.
Sorry, Megan. I just
Yeah,
started seeing your name
I know.
come
I'm
up,
like,
and when
oh,
this is over,
hello.
it's going to be gone. They're going to say, "Where's my
Where's my
promo code?"
promo
So
code?
follow us at my MenoWell, DM, and then I'll get you the promo code. Okay,
Love
keep
it.
going. Make it robust.
Yeah,
That's what we want to
just
do.
just step
Yes.
back and say like, where's my protein? Where's my produce?
Right.
Like just eat your pros.
Eat your
And that
Be
like
a pro, eat your pros.
be a
That's what I
pro
like.
at
Yeah.
eating pros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a
So
pro
that's
at
the
eating pros.
nutrition piece. And then are you ready to move on to the fitness piece? I know that
Yes.
that's my bread and
I
butter.
know.
That's what I love.
It all is, but we're getting to your real jam now. Okay, Megan, go ahead.
So here's the thing. This is the fourth and final thing is that you need to move every day, period. Like, I don't care how it is, what it looks like, you have to just move every day. And I think sometimes we get in our head, like, I don't know what workout to do today, or I don't have time to work out today. And so, once again, it's that all or nothing mentality of like, either it's going to be like a 30, 45-minute sweat burning session or nothing.
Yeah.
And so I just want everybody listening to just say, from here on out, I'm going to be someone that just moves every day, no matter what. Whether that means like I walk to the mailbox and back today, if that's all I have,
Right.
like that's still something. If it's doing a few stretches in the evening while I'm watching TV or right before bed to help me sleep better, like it's something. So that's like baseline. That is like foundation level. You're now someone, everybody listen, you are now someone who moves every
I
day, no
move
matter what, no
every day
matter what.
because we get so focused on the workout, which is
Yeah,
usually 15 to an hour if we're really going, all the way an hour. But then we have the whole rest of the day.
right.
So we get all the movement and the credit, the calorie burn, if you will, in the rest of the
The
day.
rest of the day. And there's something really powerful called NEAT. So NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So somebody can drop that at their next dinner
Right.
party. So NEAT,
So neat.
non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is basically all of the energy that your body produces throughout the day that's separate from a workout. And women who are very active just all day long, they're always moving. They're not someone who sits and looks for the chair. All we tend to get in the habit of looking for chairs everywhere we go. Like, where's the next place that I can sit down? If you're the opposite of that, you're someone who just is always in motion, you will have a higher baseline metabolism rate than someone who looks for chairs everywhere they go. So
Right.
don't underestimate the power of being someone who just is always fidgeting and moving and on your feet and moving a lot. So that's like baseline. But then from there, what should your fitness routine look like for someone who is in midlife, who's dealing with excess belly fat? The most important thing is to be moving in the direction of doing strength training
Yes.
because the more muscle mass that you have on your body, The higher your baseline metabolism, and the better that's going to have an impact on the amount of visceral fat that you have.
Right.
Doing just cardio does not have the same impact on visceral fat levels in your body. I know a lot of women that are cardio queens, and they still have significant amounts of visceral fat, that belly fat. So it's strength training so the metabolic effects of strength training and the muscular benefits of strength training, that's the part that impacts that visceral fat, the menopausal belly fat, more than anything
Can
else. So
I also add on that, Megan, if you're someone like me that wears a watch, a tracker, and you put, I'm tracking my weight training workout, and I burn 97
you're
calories. And
like,
my
wah,
goal for the
wah.
day is like 350. I'm like, that's not very much,
Yeah,
but that is not the goal of weight training. So we shouldn't
right.
look to our strength training workout to burn calories. We're going to get that as a benefit. That's a bonus,
Yes.
but we get that burn from moving our bodies, and we feel so good when we do
Yeah.
that. But that weight training is what keeps us strong. It keeps us, vital. It lifts our basal metabolic rate, as
Yeah.
Megan was saying, like on. So it goes back to that reframing of what that
Exactly.
number is on the scale. If you you think weight training, I'm not going to do that because I don't burn very many calories there. That's old school thinking, ladies. We have to really reframe that. And that's not the purpose of resistance and weight training. It's to be
Exactly.
strong.
Absolutely. And so the benefits of weightlifting, strength training, however that might look, it's so multifaceted.
Yeah,
If you show up to your workout and say, I'm only going to burn calories and only check off that box, then that's the only benefit that you're going to get. You might get a cardiovascular benefit from that, maybe.
right.
But your fitness has so many other aspects to it: balance, strength, cardiovascular stamina, coordination, flexibility, power, like all of these other things that contribute to your body feeling and functioning at its very best. So strength training, a really good, well-rounded, functional strength training program is going to check off all of these boxes. It will help with your body composition, but it's also going to like accomplish all of these other things at the same time. So we definitely want to move in that direction. And I know a lot of women are like, I don't know how to get started with that. And it can feel really daunting when you're not familiar with it. Oh, did I lose you?
Oh, there we go.
Okay, am I back?
We've been
Yeah.
having such a good
Oh,
conversation that my do not disturb ended, and so all of a sudden I had this flood of messages. I had to
oh,
get rid of those. Like,
I
we're
know.
still talking about this topic, so okay, keep
I know,
going,
still have a
Megan.
lot of
Yes.
people listening.
So what do women do then? They don't know where to start with this. You've shared so many incredible points, but then we get to that point of like analysis
Right.
paralysis. How do I start, or where do I
Yeah.
optimize? So
Where do I
fill us
start?
in.
And I always recommend, if strength training is new to you, you've been the cardio queen forever, or maybe what you're doing now is just you're a power walker, that's great. Like that is a victory, that's huge. Like we don't need to stop that, but let's fine tune what you're doing to be a little bit more effective. And I recommend starting with strength training with just using your own body. So using your own body weight. Is this weightlifting? Yeah, your body weighs. We know that, right? Because you see
We
it on
know
that
how much
scale.
our body weighs. My body weighs more than I can
Yeah,
lift with, on a
that's
rack.
a really
So,
big dumbbell if
right.
you think about it. So doing body weight only movements does still count. That is resistance training. What I love about starting there is that it can be really distracting to figure out how to hold a piece of equipment and also do good, proper technique with good strength training. Actually, if you're like figuring out, like, not only am I learning how to squat properly, but I'm also having to learn how to hold this thing,
Right.
or I'm trying to do a chest press and I'm having to balance on a ball, and like it can get really overwhelming and you feel like you're in like learning new tricks. I don't want to say old dog learning new tricks, but sometimes it
Don't
feels
say
like
that.
that. You're like,
Right.
I don't want to learn
I,
something new. Like this is overwhelming. Like I don't care if you're 20 and learning it for the first time, you're 50 and learning it for the first time. Like let's remove every barrier to begin with. and
You're
say,
so good
let's,
at that too, helping break it down to keep it simple. And don't underestimate the simplicity of Megan's
yes,
teaching. It's an art to be able to instruct the way Megan instructs. It's so thoughtful. So don't underestimate it. Just because it feels simple, it's tricky and powerful. So
it can
really
be.
pay
And
attention.
thank you for saying that. And yes, and and so much of how I teach too is with this plan for growth.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people step into a workout and say that this workout, this one that I'm showing up to today, is going to be the best workout of my entire life. Like,
And I
this
need
is
the
the
results
one,
now, right?
right? Like, this is the one that I have to fit all the things in and do it, like, check off every single box.
Right.
It's like, no, this might be a tiny piece of a much larger puzzle. Like, picture yourself, like, if anybody loves to puzzle, like, this is a 1,000 piece puzzle, and this workout today is just one of those pieces. Let's make this piece as easy to put into the puzzle as possible. If we make it like really challenging, you're not going to want to complete the puzzle.
Well, I think that's always the goal, is to feel good enough at the end and in the
Yes.
morning when you wake
Yeah.
up that you want to do it again, because
Right.
what's the point? And I am the worst. I used to be the worst at that. Just go really hard, like get that motivation,
Yeah.
go so hard, and then the next day I'm so sore,
Hmm.
I don't want to work out again,
Yeah.
and then sore and more
Right.
sore, and then a whole week goes by, right?
Yeah.
So don't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a bad technique because you're like, why do I struggle with consistency? And why do I struggle with getting motivated? It's like, well, maybe the method of how you're going about this is really demotivating. Like,
Right.
it's hard to show up and do something consistently when you dread it, when you know it's going to make you sore, when you know you're not going to be able to walk for 5 days. So,
Right.
what if we pull it back, like remove the intensity and start from a place where you're like, I'm actually really
Right.
excited for what's on the docket tomorrow because it feels really good. And that's
This is
like,
where you trust the
yes,
process.
you trust the process and you have to trust that it's going to blossom and grow. And what this little thing looks like 6 months from now is going to be remarkable and like super impressive. But that doesn't mean that you start here. You don't start there. You don't start by diving into the deep end. You start by wading in at the shallow end, and you trust that it's going to grow into something wonderful.
Yes. And with you, it will. That is for sure. So, oh my gosh, this is why this is your third time in this conversation, which should we tell them that we're cooking up something fun together? And yeah, so I'll just say stay tuned. We're working on something fun because we know that our customers that love MenoWell bars love Megan's work and want to know, especially an entry place or really working on strengthening their back and
Mhm.
mobility. And Megan's so wonderful at that. So we're really honored to be working on our partnership. So stay tuned for
Yes,
good things to
everybody
come.
who loves MenoWell bars already is someone who cares about their body and cares about taking care of their body in the best ways possible. So if I can
Yeah.
swoop in and give some tips and insight into that too, that's what I'm here for. So
Which we love. That's why we love you, because
yeah.
we know we're so aligned. We're not about the quick fix. You know, any natural product, it takes time. It takes time
Mhm.
to let maca help balance, you know, your blood sugar and hormones, and allowing to eat good fiber and nutrients in your body. You know, this is an
Yeah.
approach that is a different mindset than just a quick
Yep.
fix of everything. You know,
Yep.
that's what pharmaceuticals are for. And we're not mad about pharmaceuticals, but you know, you want to, if pharmaceuticals are your way to feel better during menopause, then you also need to focus on fitness and what you eat and nutrition, because that's a holistic approach. That's when you optimize all the results of
Yeah.
pharmaceuticals, not just that one thing.
Yep.
So
You got a lot of
we're
tools in the toolbox. Let's see
all
what
the
we can use.
tools in the
Yeah.
toolbox.
Yeah.
Okay, Megan. Well, if somebody wants to jump on one of your awesome programs,
Yeah.
where should they go to find
Well,
all the details?
yeah, a really great place to start, especially since we're talking about midsection a lot today. I would highly recommend women trying my 5-day core tune-up. This isn't like going to whittle your waist in 5 days, but what it does is help create a really solid foundation of having a strong core that helps you overcome back pain, hip pain, whatever might be preventing you from getting the ball rolling with a good quality fitness routine. So just go to 5daycore.com, free 5-day program, really, really good. I would highly recommend it for everybody. And then come say hi over on my Instagram channel too. It'd be really fun to meet a few of you guys and welcome you into my club too. Yeah.
So fun. So number
Number
five.
5. Yep.
Number
5daycore.com.
5-day core, CORE, like
Mhm.
in the middle, the core of the body, the core that supports everything that we
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Really good. And don't forget to follow us at MenoWell if you're new to MenoWell bars, and comment, DM me. Remember, DM us, not just here because this is going to go away.
Yeah.
The recording you can find, but not the comments. And
Not the
so
comments, yeah.
DM and we'll send you a promo code so you can get a great discount on Try Some Double Chocolate Brownie bestseller. So Megan, as always, fave conversation, fave person, and we're going to continue this with more fun things for all of you here because we all deserve to menopause well,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Julie. I always love helping out your audience.
Same, grateful. And you know, I'm on the road today and I would never miss a moment with Megan. So set it up. Where am I going? I'm in a guest room right now. You know,
I
like,
think I
let's
get to
go.
see you live next week. I'm coming to Chicago.
Oh, you
So we're going to be
are.
so we'll be at the Menopausium. So if anybody else is
Yay.
going to be there, come say hi to
Oh my
Julie and I.
gosh. I did
Yeah.
not know that. Yes. If you don't know about it, go to letstalkmenopause.org. You can buy. Oops, I'm losing you, Megan, here. I see it spinning. Could be me. Oh, there we go. Coming back. Have you met Dr. Mary Claire, Dr. Sharon before?
No, not in person. So I'm super excited. Yeah.
You're going to love them. They are my favorites and super honored. So come, and it's open to the public. So come join us in Chicago. The Menopausium is on Friday,
Yep. I think
May
they have
3rd,
virtual tickets
or
available right now.
virtual tickets. But we
So
want you to come. Come.
I know, it'll be so fun.
We'll see you there. I didn't know that. I'm super excited now. Extra excited.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Share the replay with somebody you care about. Till next time. MenoWell. All right. Bye.